Essentially, on my channel in the past, I've covered Powfu, Sarcastic Sounds, Rseboy, SadBoy Prolific, plenty of very talented artists in the lo-fi genre. And through following their stories, I've realized one thing in common with all of them. The industry is killing their careers, and it has nothing to do with their talent. With that being said, let's get into it. To start, we unfortunately have to talk a little bit about me and my start in the lo-fi genre. I was a YouTuber who had made videos on music in the past, and off a whim I decided to make a video on none other than Powfu. I heard his song Deathbed in the past, and I realized I hadn't heard anything about him aside from that song, so I made a video, The Story of Powfu, where I looked a bit more into him, his backstory, and what he's kind of been up to. Something I realized very early on about the genre is that there are some really talented artists on one hand. On the other hand, there's some very dedicated fans, and outside of that, there is absolutely nothing. But let me show you exactly what I mean. On this side, we have Powfu, the biggest artist in lo-fi hip-hop history. He has the biggest song, Deathbed, one of the biggest songs during like the COVID era. He has a bunch of high streaming songs outside of that. He's made a real career for himself in a genre that isn't really defined yet. Now over here, who would think we would ever see these two guys in the same video? If you know them both, shout out to you. This is Spot 'em Got 'em. Spot 'em Got 'em is a rapper who basically has one notable song and a bunch of remixes of it, which overall, Powfu, song for song, for the total discography, for just the hits, by every metric, he has more streams than this other guy. He has been more successful. Now, if I were to show you interviews or content from these guys, who do you think would have the higher quality, and who do you think would have more on like actually established platforms? So Spot 'em Got 'em has high quality interviews, high quality content, multiple clips, shorts, whatever you want to call it. Basically every advantage he possibly could have over Powfu in terms of promotion, in terms of interviews, in terms of content. He has the upper hand in literally every situation. Now, Powfu over here, for some reason, he has a bunch of interviews with these really small platforms who were probably trying. They were probably interested in him, but none of them are really high quality. Nobody with the label he was signed with ever got him a high quality interview until like recently, like 9 months ago, when his biggest song was like 3-4 years ago. Actually, not his biggest song. It would be the biggest song for about 99% of artists. With that being said, I don't want to make it sound like there's literally nothing. I think he had like one high quality interview all the way back then. One, but he has the one. I know some people are going to feel like I cherry-picked the example of Powfu versus Spot 'em Got 'em, but we can look at Sarcastic Sounds, SadBoy Prolific, Rseboy, look at all the interviews they've ever done. Most of them don't even have an interview by themselves, but when we look at SadBoy Prolific, there is actually one interview where I would say the interviewer put in effort and it looked like a good, presentable interview. That is Street Champs.
Street Champs, come get put on. Woo! Today we got SadBoy Prolific in the fucking studio. How you doing, bro?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Street Champs isn't an amazing established platform. They're just some guys who actually put in some effort, and I will give them credit for that. The point is, when you look at all this, you have artists who are doing much higher numbers and much more established than other artists, but there's no interviews, no content. You can't find information about them. So how easy would it be to be a devoted fan of somebody that you can't find any information on? To be fair, something I do need to mention and to address is if you look at the lo-fi scene, there's not really any established platforms, where with rap, there's a ton of them. You can look up hip-hop or rap news every single day, and you will have new results within the last 48 hours. You can look up lo-fi news today, and you will find some type of thing that has nothing to do with lo-fi. I don't even know what this company is. While some people would say that that just completely excuses everything I've mentioned up until this point, and that the label can't really do anything because there's no platforms, I don't think it'd be crazy to get one person to interview pretty much all the lo-fi guys with industry ties. You could take someone like the Bobby Girl, turn them into an industry plant interviewer, and you immediately have the biggest lo-fi platform out there. Right now, the biggest lo-fi platform out there, essentially, as far as I can tell, is me. I don't really cover the news. I've just done the story of a few people, but there's no other content out there. With that being said, I'm sure if you reached out to me or Street Champs, we'd be down for a little check to work with some of you label heads. I'm just throwing it out there, Columbia. I'd be down to make video after video on them and try to establish the genre. The thing is, this isn't something that I've been contacted for, and it seems like there's nobody else who's stepping up. So nothing's happening. Why is that guy driving like that? You see that? Crazy. Good news, it's more than just shutting down publicity in terms of not having any interviews and also not having any real content released about them. Going even beyond that, the one thing lo-fi artists are known to do is release a ton of music. And if you look at almost every single one's career, you'll see after they sign to a label, their music becomes less and less abundant. They are being bottlenecked by the industry. Now, if you don't believe me, it's fine. You can look at these fancy charts I made, and I'll throw on some sound effects so it's a little more appealing for you. But if you look at it, everything's just going down. Now, if you're not able to release as much music, you can't really do interviews, there's no content being made around you, it's really hard to keep fans' interest and to keep their attention on you, which means your songs are going to do less and less streams, which means you're going to become less and less valuable as an artist. Now, if you think about it, if you're an artist and you have less and less songs being released, you don't have any interviews coming out, no content is being made around you, there's no way for you to keep fans' attention and for you to keep them informed that you're going to be releasing music in the future. Imagine there's no way for you to get publicity, and even your songs can't speak for themselves because nobody can hear them. Your industry, your label, whatever it may be, will not let you release it. This is absolutely crazy. Now, I'm not going to call any labels by name because that would just be really bad for my brand. But if I were to, it would probably be someone like Columbia, who I know has Powfu signed, I know has Sarcastic Sounds signed, and I'm skeptical that at one point they probably had Rseboy. I didn't validate any of this with anything more than a Google search and looking at their Spotify history and who's claiming their songs as theirs. But it's weird. Columbia seems to have this position where they wanted at one point all these lo-fi artists, and they were just hoping that they would continue to flourish on their own without any investment, without any backing or anything like that. It seemed like they just threw the artists who like to work in their homes, didn't give them any studios, didn't give them any publicity, no interviews, no marketing, nothing. They literally just let these guys continue making music and collected their check off of it. I don't understand what's going on with the lo-fi hip-hop genre. There's guys at Columbia who are making a lot of money to be making the right decisions, so maybe at one point we can get a response from them and get a better idea of what's going on with the lo-fi scene. With that being said, it's probably not going to happen. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please subscribe because all the cool kids have 17,000 subscribers.